Rich fiancé catches his bride-to-be in a dark secret. This shocking twist will haunt you. It was a night soaked in tension, barely breathing against the cold winds that howled through the city streets. Under the shimmering lights of the gala, a crisp white dress shimmered, drawing all eyes to the beautiful bride-to-be, Emily. But the moment was far from picturesque. In a quiet corner, just out of sight, the air thickened with secrets about to be laid bare. A voice, raspy and urgent, pierced through the laughter, warning of something unimaginable. You couldn't shake the feeling that something dark was lurking just beneath the surface, even in a crowd that echoed joy and celebration. The night had started innocuously enough, a diamond-studded affair overflowing with laughter and clinking glasses. But what was about to unfold would shatter those joyous moments like glass underfoot. Emily's fiancé, Michael, a wealthy businessman known for his sharp instinct and unwavering gaze, sensed the shift in the atmosphere. Something felt off. Was it the way she was avoiding his gaze? Or the slight tremor in her hands as she lifted her champagne flute? Tension crackled between them like lightning, electrifying the air, and sending waves of unease through their guests. The flower arrangements, once colorful and lively, now felt somehow sinister as darkness enveloped the room. Just then, a cell phone pinged from Emily's purse, cutting through the murmurs. She fumbled, the phone slipping from her hands, hitting the floor with a hollow thud. The screen lit up, illuminating her pale face, casting shadows that deepened the anxiety in her chest. Her heart raced. Who was messaging her at this hour? Friends or something else, something far more unnerving? As the crowd dwindled back into their conversations, whispers flitted through the air, punctuated by skeptical glances. Could all of them feel it too? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. And just as Michael reached for her hand, pulling her close to break through the haze of her distress, the moment hung heavy. The room seemed to hush, breath held, as Emily's eyes darted across the crowd, searching for something or someone that instilled panic within her. A tall figure loomed in the distance, half hidden in the shadows, his silhouette sharp against the glow of the chandelier above. Her breath hitched in her throat. Why was he here? What did he want? The very fabric of her perfect evening began to unravel thread by thread, revealing strands of deception. As her heart thundered in her chest, the truth loomed ominously on the horizon. Would Michael discover her dark secret? And what did this mysterious figure know? The clock ticked, the crowd swirled, and the evening slipped further into a nightmarish dance of disbelief and dread. Emily's breath came in shallow gasps, the figure at the edge of her vision growing more defined. Who was he? She strained to remember, but the details slipped through her mind like water. Panic set in, tightening her chest as the weight of the evening's lies felt heavier than her gown. Emily, are you all right? Michael's voice broke through her haze. He squeezed her hand, his brows knitted in concern. She flashed him a tight smile, trying desperately to mask her growing dread. She needed to keep him close, but how could she explain the turmoil brewing within her? Suddenly, the figure stepped closer, the churning crowd parting like waves. Emily's heart raced. She recognized that face more than a face, it was a reminder of her past she had tried to bury. The man wore a sinister smile, one that made her insides twist. She couldn't let Michael see him, couldn't let her secret slip beneath the glittering surface of their perfect evening. I need to step outside for a moment, she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. Michael hesitated, his grip around her fingers tightening. Are you sure? Just for a breath of fresh air, she insisted, pulling away. The cool night air was a stark contrast to the heated chaos swirling around her. She needed to think. She stepped outside, the distant sound of laughter and music fading into the night. But as she turned the corner of the building, the figure was there, waiting in the shadows. "I knew you wouldn't be able to resist, Emily," he said, his voice smooth and taunting. "Jason," she breathed, her heart pounding as fear rushed over her. "What do you want?" "Just a little chat about the past," he said, stepping forward. The streetlights flickered, gilding his features in a haunting glow. "You really thought you could just forget everything? Move on with your little rich fiancé?" Emily's mind raced. Memories flashed through her head, her life before Michael. The lies, the betrayal. "I've left that life behind," she said, trying to sound firm but failing to mask the quiver in her voice. "Oh, but it's not that easy, is it? I still have something you want, something you'll do anything to protect," he said, his eyes glinting with malice. "What are you talking about?" Her mind screamed at her to run back to Michael, to bury herself in his safety, but something kept her anchored to the spot. "If he knew about all those little secrets you've so carefully hidden, I doubt he'd be the doting fiancé." Jason leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You think you can wear that white dress and pretend it's all fairy tales? That's cute." Emily's stomach twisted at the thought of her deception unraveling before Michael. The weight of her lies hung heavy in the air, threatening to suffocate her as she faced Jason, the embodiment of her hidden truth. "Stay away from me!" she shouted, finally finding her voice. But anger collided with fear. She felt trapped, her every instinct screaming for escape. That he chuckled softly, as if her protests only amused him. "Oh, you can't escape this. Not now. Not ever." Just then, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, causing her to jump. She snatched it out, glancing at the screen, multiple notifications from Michael. He was asking if she was okay, his concern palpable even through the text. "This isn't over," Jason hissed, retreating back into the shadows as she backed away, torn between the two worlds. Emily turned, heart racing. She had to get back to Michael, had to shield him from everything threatening to engulf them. But what would happen when he found out? And would she even get the chance to keep her secret safe? With every step back toward the gala, the urgency in her heart only grew. The darkness was closing in around her, and she knew that the hardest part of this battle was yet to come. What if the truth wasn't just buried in the past but waiting to claw its way to the surface? She rushed inside, knowing that time was running out. Would she have the strength to confront her demons, or would they drag Michael down with her into oblivion? The moment Emily stepped back into the gala, the buzz of laughter and music enveloped her like a suffocating blanket. She scanned the room frantically, her eyes searching for Michael. There he was, standing near the shimmering bar, a playful smile lighting up his face as he chatted with a few friends. But that smile felt distant now, almost like a cruel reminder of everything she had to lose. She took a deep breath, pushing through the crowd. Each step felt heavy, fear and guilt weighed her down, pulling her closer to the abyss her past had created. What if Jason didn't stop? The thought clawed at her, a relentless whisper in her mind. "Emily." Michael's voice cut through her chaotic thoughts. He caught sight of her, his face dropping when the mask of happiness faltered. "I was just about to look for you. Are you all right?" I'm fine," she lied, her voice barely above a whisper. She forced a smile, but the tremor of her fingers gave away her fear. She could feel Jason's sinister gaze even now, lurking in the dark parts of her memory as if he were watching her every move. "Are you sure? You look a bit pale." His brow furrowed deeply, and in that moment, she saw the concern shimmer in his eyes like a beacon of love. It made her heart ache even more. How could she let this perfect man into the chaos of her life? "Really, I just need a moment," she insisted, trying to sound more confident. "Why don't you grab us some champagne? I'll be right here." Michael hesitated before nodding softly. "All right, but don't go anywhere." He squeezed her hand gently before heading off, and the warmth of his touch faded into the cold reality of her spiraling thoughts. once alone, Emily needed to regroup. She glanced around, searching for a corner where she could breathe without the prying eyes of a joyful crowd. The music pulsed a little louder in her ears, and the lights felt blinding. Suddenly, a chill slivered down her spine, like icy fingers trailing up her neck. "You're hiding, Emily." The voice was unmistakable, and she spun to find Jason standing at the edge of the dance floor, his sneer carving a rift through her fortitude. How had he slipped back inside without her noticing? "What do you want from me?" she hissed, the tension crackling like static in the air. She needed to keep Michael safe, and that meant confronting Jason now before things spiraled further out of control. "I want you to understand that you can't just erase me from your life. I've got things you care about, things that will make you think twice." He took a step closer, and the crowd around them dimmed in her vision, blurring into a mass of chatter and swirling colors. Emily clenched her fists, every ounce of anger rising to the surface. "Leave us alone. I have nothing to do with you anymore." "Oh, but you do," he said, a malicious glint lighting up his eyes. "You really think you can just walk away unscathed? That fiancé of yours? He's got a lot more to lose than you think, and the truth has a way of making its grand entrance at the most inconvenient times." Her stomach knotted painfully. "You're threatening him? Consider it a warning, Em." He stepped back, fading into the crowd as easily as he had appeared. "I'm just getting started." Emily's breath hitched, her heart racing with panic. She was rooted to the spot, reality crashing down upon her like a tidal wave. The laughter and smiles around her felt like a mockery of everything she had hoped for. Behind her, the sound of Michael's laughter carried through the noise. She turned, desperate to grab his hand, but deep down, Emily knew something sinister was brewing. She was no longer just fighting for herself. Jason's shadow loomed large, and her deepest fears were starting to swirl back to life. What was the truth he held, and how far would it go to destroy everything she had built? Taking a deep breath, she steeled herself. How long could she keep her past hidden? The clock was ticking. And the moment she stayed silent might be the moment everything for which she fought slipped away. Emily spun around, adrenaline flooding her veins. Each heartbeat seemed to echo in her ears, drowning out the laughter and music. She needed to find Michael, but her feet felt glued to the floor. What would Jason do next? The danger hung in the air, sharp enough to slice through the excitement of the gala. She was exposed, vulnerable, and Jason above all seemed to revel in that. Just as she turned again, a familiar face caught her eye at the bar. Michael was laughing there, his brows furrowed in focus as he spoke with a couple of guests. His smile was bright, but every ounce of joy felt like a distant star, unreachable and dimmed by the darkness threatening to engulf her. "Emily." A soft voice interrupted her spiraling thoughts. It was Sarah, her old college friend. "Are you okay? You look, well, not great." Not great felt like an understatement. That cold knot tightened in her gut. She forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Just dealing with a headache." Sarah raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. "Do you want to step outside for a breather? A little fresh air might help." "It's fine, really," she insisted, glancing toward Michael again, wanting to solidify that connection. But Jason's words echoed, carving deeper into her mind. What if he was dangerous? What if he truly had something on Michael? "Emily," Sarah pressed, her concern a palpable force. "You know I've always got your back. I saw Jason slip in. Are you sure you can handle this?" Just the mention of Jason made Emily's heart race. She felt cornered, like a deer caught in headlights. Her breath stuttered. "What? He's here?" "Yeah, he came in with 2 friends, but I figured you wouldn't want to cause a scene," Sarah said. "But seriously, if he's bothering you, no, I can't make a scene. That would just make it worse." The panic spiked again. Emily could see Michael's laughter, carefree and bright, like a beacon in the storm. What was he enjoying? Did he have any idea about the chaos lurking just beneath the surface? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the room, a glass shattering, and gasps erupted around them. Emily turned, heart racing, to see a woman stumble back from the bar, her drink spilling everywhere. The attention shifted momentarily, a collective breath held as people turned to see what had happened. Emily took a moment to gather herself. "I need to go to him," she said, determination swelling within her. "But what about Jason?" Sarah interjected, worry lining her voice. "He's not going to ruin this," Emily snapped, surprising herself. She couldn't let fear control her actions. She moved through the throng with purpose, her eyes fixed on Michael. He needed her, and she wouldn't let Jason stand in her way. As she stepped closer, the joyous laughter faded again. She could see clearly now Michael's eyes darting across the crowd, searching. But his smile left him when he locked eyes with Emily, desperation flashing for a brief moment. "Everything okay?" he asked, concern flooding his tone, as if he sensed the storm brewing behind her facade. "Not really," Emily replied, her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. "But we need to talk. Now." Before Michael could respond, the crowd parted like waves, revealing Jason once more, standing with an arrogant grin on his face. This time, he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a tall man with a menacing presence, arms crossed and eyes fixed on her. "Emily," Jason called out with that teasing lilt, "I think we need to clear a few things up, don't you?" The air grew thick with tension, every heartbeat matching the rise in uncertainty. Emily felt Michael stiffen beside her, a protective instinct surging in him. "Who the hell are you?" Michael demanded, his brow furrowing. Jason chuckled, a vile sound that seeped into Emily's skin. "Oh, just a friend. One with some very interesting details that could change everything you think you know about Emily." Emily's stomach lurched as clarity struck. She was standing on the precipice of a truth she had tried so hard to avoid. Would Michael really believe Jason over her? "What do you mean?" Michael's voice lowered, apprehension lacing his words as he looked between them. "Let us unveil the mystery, shall we?" Jason challenged, his smirk stretching wider. Emily's heart sank. Did she have enough strength to confront this once and for all? Or would she watch everything slip through her fingers as Jason exposed the demons of her past? Outside the laughter of the gala, the truth lingered in the air like an ominous cloud, waiting to break free. As Jason stepped closer, Emily realized she was not just fighting for Michael's trust but for her very future, and in that moment, her greatest battle was about to unfold. The laughter in the room faded into a haunting silence, broken only by the fading echoes of clinking glasses and distant music. Every eye in the gala turned towards Jason, his presence dominating the moment like a dark cloud shading a sunlit day. Emily felt the weight of the crowd's gaze, heavy and suffocating. Panic gripped her, twisting her stomach into knots. How many knew her secrets? Were there whispers circulating behind closed doors, eyes darting between her and Michael, casting doubt on the love they'd built together? "Emily, what is he talking about?" Michael's voice broke through her thoughts, laced with confusion and concern. He turned to her, searching her expression for answers. It took every ounce of strength to maintain her composure. "Michael, please. Just stay calm. Whatever he says, oh, it's not what I say, Emily. It's what I know," Jason interrupted, his voice smooth yet dripping with malice. "Why don't you jog his memory? After all, you used to have some wild friends, didn't you?" She cringed at the veiled threat hidden behind his words. Memories swirled in her mind, concrete and jagged, all the times she tried to escape her old life, mistakes she thought were buried. But now, Jason had resurrected them, and she'd be damned if she'd let him use them as weapons. "I'm not playing your games, Jason. I've moved on. You're just trying to stir up trouble." She felt Michael's hand grip her shoulder, grounding her even as her heart raced in her chest. "Trouble? I'm merely waving a flag of truth," he sneered, stepping closer, his tall companion mirroring him, sowing dread with every inch gained. Michael, you should really hear what your perfect little fiancé has been hiding. It might be more than just a headache, if you catch my drift. Emily's blood ran cold. The laughter and chattering crowd felt like a distant memory, the grotesque spectacle narrowing to the weight of Jason's insinuation. Her hand gripped Michael's tighter, not out of fear but desperation. Would he stand with her or pull away? Michael's brows knitted together, doubt flickering like a candle in the wind. What are you implying? You might want to sit down for this, Jason said, feigning innocence. He turned to the onlookers, who were now entirely absorbed in the unfolding drama, their expressions a mix of shock and hidden glee. Let's just say, Emily used to run with a pretty rough crowd. You remember those stories of girls getting lost in the night? He gestured with a dramatic sweep of his hand. It's not just a story, my friend. No. No, Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper, the urgency pouring from her soul. She wanted to scream, to lash out, to make this stop. Yes, my dear. You can't just erase your past, Jason continued, his voice a low drawl that pierced through the noise, cutting deep. And it seems that some of those friends aren't so keen on being forgotten. The air grew thick again, each breath feeling like shards of glass. Michael's expression darkened, uncertainty fading into betrayal, doubt morphed into pain. Emily, what is he talking about? His words, once filled with warmth, now carried an icy weight. She knew she had one shot to come clean, to drown out the lies before they took root. Michael, please. Just trust me. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that person. Jason interjected, a cruel smirk plastered on his face. What a lovely way to put it, dear Emily. But the past has a way of creeping up, doesn't it? Are you really ready for the truth? As Jason stepped even closer, drawing attention like a magnet, Emily's throat tightened. She could almost hear the whispers, the judgment brewing just beyond her reach. The clock was ticking, and if she didn't act fast, they'd drown in the storm. Jason unleashed, fear coursed through her, but just behind it, a flicker of defiance ignited. Her life, her decisions, they were hers alone. She wouldn't be backed into a corner like this. Taking a deep breath, she changed the game. Jason, whatever you think you've got, bring it. Stand in the light and expose me, but no, I'll stand firm in my truth. I'm not afraid of my past, I've learned from it. The crowd gasped, and for a heartbeat, the air paused. Michael's eyes widened, a mix of admiration and bewilderment flickering across his face. But Jason's expression hardened, darkness reclaiming the space between them. Oh, sweetheart, he said, taking a step back as if re-evaluating her strength. You have no idea what I've got waiting in the wings. What had she unleashed? Anxiety washed over her, and she glanced at Michael, desperate for reassurance. But instead, she saw a storm brewing in his gaze, uncertainty radiating off him like heat from an open flame. Then, just as the tension reached its peak, Jason leaned forward, a sinister smile curling his lips. Why don't we find out who holds the real cards here? The game is just getting started. Emily found herself teetering on the edge of a cliff, looking down into the abyss. How deep did this rabbit hole go? Would she manage to pull Michael back from the brink, or would secrets consume everything she held dear? And as the gala's atmosphere crackled with electric anticipation, she braced herself for the truth, knowing full well, the real battle was only just beginning. The silence in the room thickened, electric tension coursing like a live wire, ready to spark at any moment. Jason's predatory gaze lingered on Emily as he adjusted his tie, each movement a calculated display of dominance. The crowd held its collective breath, a sea of eager faces ready for the next revelation, while she felt the walls closing in around her. What is it, Emily? Michael's voice wavered, the confidence that once defined him now replaced by doubt. The unmistakable shadow of betrayal flickered in his eyes, and Emily's heart plummeted further into despair. Listen to me, Michael, she pleaded, her voice fraying at the edges. I made mistakes, yes. I was young and foolish, but I've changed. I love you, love. Jason cut her off, his laughter echoing through the lavish hall like a sinister melody. Such a kind word to gloss over a past full of secrets. Tell him about the night they found you, Em. The police report was quite enlightening. Emily's pulse quickened. The details of that night felt like bricks in her stomach. She had sworn to leave it behind, buried under layers of regret, but Jason had unearthed it, and the stench of the past was unbearable. She could barely look at Michael, the reality of what Jason was doing sinking in. He wasn't just attacking her, he was ripping apart the fabric of their relationship. Stop! She shouted, her voice rising above the crowd's whispers. Enough! You can't hold my past against me. People grow. I'm a different person now. Different? Jason stepped forward, his smirk gleaming in the dim light. Did you forget those friends of yours? The ones who don't seem to agree with your newfound saintliness. Trust me, they've been waiting patiently in the shadows. Fear clawed at Emily, but she swatted it away. She had come too far to be haunted again, to let fear dictate her life. If they come for me, I'll face them. Unlike you, I'm not hiding behind taunts and old stories. Michael's grip on her shoulder slackened as he processed her words. Doubt still lingered in his eyes, but there was a flicker of something else, curiosity, maybe. She could feel the weight of the room shift slightly as Michael leaned in, searching her face for truth. What's happening, Emily? He whispered, his voice a mix of worry and determination. Is there something you're not telling me? Before she could answer, Jason interjected, excitement bubbling in his voice. Oh, but that's the real question, isn't it? What else is Emily withholding? There's more to this story, dear friends. A whole saga waiting to unfold. From the back of the room, a figure emerged from the shadows, one she recognized all too well. Sally, her former friend and partner in chaos, stepped forward, her presence slicing through the tension like a knife. As Emily's throat tightened, Sally's dark eyes locked on hers, an unspoken message racing between them. Surprise, Emily. Sally chimed in, her voice dripping with mock cheer. Guess who's back? The crowd gasped, some stepping closer, others pulling back, clearly torn between shock and anticipation. Jason grinned, clearly reveling in the chaos he had orchestrated, but now the attention shifted like a pendulum swinging in Emily's direction. Why don't we hear your side of the story? He taunted. Let us give your fiancé a taste of the past you've tried so hard to bury. Sally crossed her arms, emboldened by the attention. I had no idea you were getting married, Em. But you know, some stories just can't be untold. Emily's heart raced. This is not the place for this. She protested, but the fervor in the crowd surged, egging the confrontation on. Michael stood in stunned silence, processing the reality unraveling before him. Was there more? Were there more surprises lurking just outside the periphery of this moment? As Jason stepped back and motioned for Sally to take center stage, Emily felt the ground shift beneath her. Time seemed to slow as she prepared to fight for everything she had built with Michael. But as the words danced unspoken on her lips, she realized one painful truth: this battle was just beginning, and she might not be the only one with secrets of her own. A wave of uneasy anticipation washed over her as she braced for a tidal wave of truth that could drag them all under. What would come next? Would her past finally swallow her whole, or could she rise above it all and reclaim her future? The answer loomed dangerously close. Sally stepped into the spotlight, her confidence radiating like a beacon in the dark, drowning out the whispers that choked the air. Emily's heart thudded painfully in her chest. The last time she saw Sally, it was under circumstances she wanted to forget, good times wrapped in bad choices that stung like a lash on her conscience. Come on, Emily, Sally purred, her tone a mix of friendly teasing and venom. It's been so long, and so much has happened. Don't you want to tell Michael the truth? Enough. Emily shot back, her voice cracking with desperation. You don't know what you're talking about. Sally raised an eyebrow, delight dancing in her eyes. Oh, but I do. Remember that night? The one where everything went sideways. You think it's just going to fade away like bad makeup on a late-night binge? No, these things stick with you, like glitter on your soul, she said, shivering theatrically. The crowd held its breath. Michael's eyes flickered between Sally and Emily as though watching a coin flip. The tension spiraled, thick and suffocating like fog creeping in after sunset. This isn't fair, Sally, Emily said, feeling anger mix with the dread in her gut. I've moved on. I'm happy. This isn't about you anymore. Oh, darling, but it's always about me, Sally tossed her hair back, a smirk playing on her lips. You see, I come with baggage, and you left it all behind. But thankfully, I've kept a few souvenirs. Souvenirs? Michael echoed, his voice steady but laced with concern. What are you talking about, Emily? I didn't want you to know, Emily began, but the words caught in her throat, squeezed out by the weight of the moment. Let her finish, Jason said, his eyes gleaming with amusement. You don't want to leave your fiancé guessing, do you? What was it like, the thrill of living on the edge? The danger? The excitement? The room crackled with curiosity. Emily could feel the stares burning into her like hot coals, and the tendrils of doubt creeping ever closer to Michael's heart. Emily, please, he pressed gently, desperation coloring the plea. I deserve to know the truth. A trickle of regret washed over her as she looked into his pleading eyes. That old ache returned, threatening to swallow her whole. Would revealing her past forge a dagger in Michael's trust, or would it set her free? Remember the fire? Sally chimed in, drawing the focus back to her. Gossip has a way of spiraling, especially when you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. But it's never too late for a sequel, is it? Emily's mind raced. Fire. The night it all fell apart. Her mistakes wrapped tightly in smoke and chaos. Stop it, Sally. She shouted, her emotions colliding like thunder. Enough. But it was too late. Isn't that always the case? A piece of their wild past had been set ablaze, and it was only a matter of time before it erupts into a full-blown inferno, threatening everything she cherished. Sally stepped closer, a predatory glint in her eye. You know, Emily, I heard some whispers. People say you might not be the only one with a hidden past. I bet Michael would love to hear about that. A chill ran down Emily's spine. Was there more? Could this truly unravel into a storm she couldn't control? Fear wrapped around her, suffocating and relentless. Then, the lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across the floor. For one brief moment, the room felt like it might collapse under the weight of unspoken secrets. Just tell him, Jason prompted, a sinister smile on his face. Or I promise, it will hurt much more than the truth ever could. The flickering light steadied, the room's tension thickening into a palpable charge, and all eyes focused sharply on her, waiting for revelations she wished to keep buried. With her heart racing and the air around her crackling with dread, Emily had to make a choice. Would she allow the past to claw its way back into the present, or would she fight tooth and nail to protect the future she had fought so hard to reclaim? Michael's gaze bore into her trust, love, confusion all etched on his face. Would the truth heal, or would it ultimately break them both? As the crowd waited, the floodgates stood dangerously close to bursting. What was left unspoken hung heavier than ever. Michael's voice barely broke through her swirling thoughts. What is going on? In that moment, silence stretched, and she knew she needed to answer, but the mouth of the abyss was wide open, filled with shadows. What would she choose? The truth or the continued lie that had kept her afloat for so long? The crowd held its breath, a hive of eyes locked onto Emily, waiting. Time seemed to congeal, thickening with each heartbeat pulsing loudly in her ears. The silence was oppressive, a weight pressing down, urging her to reveal whatever darker truths lay behind her veneer of happiness. Emily Michael's voice trembled with concern. What is she talking about? The room spun. Memories crashed into her like smoke-filled shadows, stinging her lungs. She could see that night all too clearly, the flames dancing like mocking spirits, the scent of burnt wood mingling with adrenaline, and laughter that came too easily among reckless youth. Emily, with all those eyes on you, don't you think it's time to come clean? Sally's voice cut through her thoughts, each word driving knives along her spine. There was malice etched in her tone, the kind that promised more chaos if she didn't bend to the pressure. What do you want from me, Sally? The defiance slipped from Emily's lips, but uncertainty was clawing at her resolve. Are you trying to ruin everything? I'm simply trying to illuminate the truth, Sally replied, her smile wicked and full of secrets. Or at least make it more interesting. You know how dull life can be when there's no edge to it. Emily's hands trembled, a sudden chill running through her despite the heat of the moment. She wanted to scream. The desire to protect herself, protect Michael, enveloped her. Yet inside, the urge to purge her truth clashed violently with the instinct to hold on to her carefully constructed facade. Tell him. Jason urged, his voice resonating like a drumbeat, encouraging a reckoning. Your past isn't going to vanish just because you ignore it, the crowd murmured, waves of mixed emotions washed over them. Was it horror? Intrigued excitement? Emily could barely tell. Each face was a mirror reflecting uncertainty back at her. A burst of defiance surged beneath her fear. What's the point? She spat out, looking at Michael, her heart aching. To hurt you. To show you the person I used to be. I've changed. But who were you? Michael asked, his eyes searching for something deeper. I need to know if I can trust you. Trust. That one word hung in the air, heavy and full of dread. Warm nights of fervent whispers drowned out by morning's light. The lies we told ourselves to feel alive. Sally purred, feeding off the volatility of the moment. Oh, it was quite the thrill ride, wasn't it? Stop! Emily shouted, the panic spilling over, turning her words into shouts. You don't know anything. None of this is about you or me anymore. But those words echoed back in futility. The past had a way of snarling its fangs in the present, refusing to let go, and Emily knew Sally wouldn't stop until every unsightly detail was exposed. Tension strummed in the air, a tight cord ready to snap. The flickering lights throbbed above them, as if anticipating the crack that would follow. Reveal it, Emily. Or he will find out from someone else, and the end will be a lot uglier than you think, Jason taunted, his tone laced with a cruel undercurrent. Her breath came short now, chest rising, falling. The walls felt like they were closing in, each eye a witness to her fracture. Just one word, one admission, and everything could come crashing down. But what would follow after the truth slipped free? Would there be ashes left to sift through in the wake of the fire? As she wrestled with the choice, she felt the universe pulling her toward a precipice. The air shrieked with desperation, and she was caught in an impossible web, caught between trust and betrayal, love and fear. Emily Michael's voice was a steady plea, echoing in her mind, yet growing fainter, darker. Just tell me the truth. A piercing realization jolted through her. Was the truth truly more liberating than a lie? Sally's grin widened with diabolical glee, the embodiment of every regret she had ever felt. This was at the moment she needed to define everything. The question loomed, screaming to be answered. Would she let the storm break her apart, or would she finally find her strength? And then the power cut out completely, plunging them into darkness. Panic coursed through the audience, a collective gasp reverberating through the room. What reveal lay cloaked in shadow? What secrets were left to wash ashore when the storm hit? The darkness was suffocating, a thick blanket wrapping around them. Emily's heart raced, each thump echoing in her ears like a deafening drum, drowning out the murmurs of confusion from the audience. Her hands shook in the overwhelming blackness, and she felt for the familiar warmth of Michael beside her. Emily. He called, a hint of panic tainting his voice. "Are you okay?" She swallowed hard, trying to mask the tremor in her words. I'm here." But her mind whirled with the weight of the truth she had nearly unleashed. Shadows from the past crept back, echoes of laughter biting through the veil of silence. It was all so vivid, so terrifyingly alive, the fear of judgment sharper than any blade. The faint glow of emergency lights flickered on, revealing faces frozen in uncertainty, some eyes wide with expectation, others glimmering with a smirk of cruelty, like Sally S. She leaned against the wall, a wicked smile blooming in the dim light, relishing the chaos. "Didn't anyone tell you secrets like to stay hidden in the dark?" she crooned, her voice a seductive hiss. Emily's blood turned to ice as Sally's words sank in. Wasn't it true? It felt like she was dangling from a thread, one wrong nudge and she could plummet into the abyss of her past. "Emily, please," Michael insisted, his voice slicing through the tension. "Just whatever it is, you can tell me." "Can I?" The question slipped from her lips, raw and jagged. "Can I bear to see your face when you learn who I really am? After all the moments we shared, do you really want to know the truth?" "Better that than living a lie," he replied, sounding steadier than she felt. "Just give me something real. Enough of this cat-and-mouse game." Jason scoffed from across the room, the shadow of mirth creeping into his voice. "The truth can be a lot uglier than a pretty lie, isn't that right, Emily?" In the flickering glow, the air felt electric, crackling with tension. Each person present held on to their breath, waiting for the inevitable. She couldn't stop the clenching knot in her stomach, the weight of the silence pressing down like a suffocating tide. As the emergency lights flickered again, shadows danced on the walls, mocking her indecision. What could emerge from the ashes of her childhood? A comfort or a curse? "Just say it, Emily," Michael urged, desperation lacing his voice. The light caught the intense depths of his blue eyes, and for a fleeting moment, she saw the boy she had fallen in love with. The one who filled her with hope and the one she might soon push away, but then came an unexpected sound, a low rumble. The lights flickered again before plunging them into darkness once more, but not before Emily caught a glimpse of something piercing through the crowd. A figure was moving in the shadows, their body tense, their posture menacing. "Emily!" Michael shouted, fear rising like a wall of flames. Her instincts kicked in, and without thinking, she rushed towards the voice, her heart hammering wildly. That unmistakable chill clawed at her spine. She had to shield him, protect him from whatever lurked in the shadows. But as she moved, another realization jolted through her: if her secret was exposed, she might not just lose him, she could lose everything. "Let them see the truth." Sally's spiteful voice echoed back, the words turning in the stillness, wrapping around Emily like a noose. "It's time for everyone to face what they've been hiding, including you." With a desperate breath, Emily stepped back, the shadows shifting around her. She could sense the lingering threat, the looming possibility of devastation. Maybe it's time for the truth to finally come out. The rumble grew louder, the darkness shifting as if alive. What chaos would be unleashed in the wake of her confession? But another thought gripped her. What if she wasn't the only one hiding a secret? As she felt the shadows beckoning, a new tension surged forward. Was she ready to unravel herself? What darker truths still hid in the hearts of those around her? And that sinister presence in the dark, was it there to reveal or to destroy? In the enveloping darkness, Emily felt trapped, a caged bird trembling in the shadows. The lights flickered back on, illuminating the faces around her, eyes wide, breath held, anticipation saturating the air like a thick fog. Sally grinned in the corner, her presence that of a conqueror surveying a battlefield, while Jason hovered nearby, his confidence bloated like a balloon on the edge of bursting. "Enough games." Michael's voice rang out, piercing through the tension, drawing everyone's attention like metal to a magnet. He stepped forward, his face a blend of confusion and frustration. "Emily, what is happening? I need you to tell me the truth now." The stakes were impossibly high, and Emily felt her chest tighten, an iron band squeezing the air from her lungs. The moment arrived. It was no longer just about her past. It was about Michael and the love they had forged amidst silence and lies, and she would be damned if she let that slip through her fingers. "Fine," she blurted, her voice catching on the weight of her resolve. "The truth is I made mistakes. I was caught up in a world that was toxic, reckless, and wrapped in chaos." She locked eyes with Michael, his gaze steady and unwavering. "I ran with a crowd that led to a fire. One that ruined lives, my life." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The drama played out like a live show, every spectator hanging on her words. Jason's malevolent smile faded into a mask of intrigue, and Sally leaned in, drinking it all in, reveling in the unfolding theater. "Emily." Michael breathed, a rainbow of emotions dancing through his eyes, searching for clarity. "But those are just words. What happened? What happened is I lost control. I let my past define me." Her heart raced as she recalled the violence, the chaos. "I hurt people, and I did things I can't take back. I ran, I tried to disappear into the folds of my life with you, but now it's back to haunt me." The crowd fell silent, the weight of her confession hanging like a lead balloon, and for a brief moment, time seemed to stop. Distant memories tugged at her, dark and shameful fleeting images of friends, chaos, and the flicker of flames that consumed everything she held dear. "Emily." Jason's voice broke the thick silence. "You know that none of that past is water under the bridge, right? You've tried to erase it, but I hold everything, every detail, every secret." He turned to the gathered guests, relishing the moment. "And if you think they'll let you walk into your fairy tale wedding now that they know, you're sorely mistaken." Emily's stomach lurched. Jason thrived on chaos, it had always been his way. But not now. She took a purposeful step forward, the depth of despair morphing into strength. "No. That's with you. I've chosen to change." Her breath came easier now, a spark igniting within. "I will not let my mistakes define my future. I refuse to live in fear any longer." "Fear?" Jason mock laughed. "This is just the beginning, Emily. You think you can just dismiss your past and uphold this precious image you've built?" His eyes narrowed, teeth bared in delight. "Think again." Behind Michael, the murmurs intensified, curiosity blended with fear, and waves of judgment began flooding the air like a storm. Emily felt the tremors of uncertainty grating against the surface of her newfound courage. "Maybe he's right." Sally chimed in, completely immersed in the drama. "What's next?" "A big reveal that you never planned on." She batted her lashes mockingly, stirring the pot of dread around them. "Stop." Michael's voice boomed, seething anger painted on his features. "Stop playing games." He turned to Emily again, his expression softening, but determination returning. "What do you need to end this? What will it take?" Fighting through the rising tide of fear, Emily stepped closer, her heart pounding in rhythm with her resolve. "The truth isn't just my past, it's our future. I won't lose you because of something that happened before. I need you to understand who I am today, not who I was." Silence enveloped them for a brief moment, and Emily held his gaze, willing him to trust her. Beneath the surface, emotions danced. The truth or whatever remained of it hung precariously in the air above them, waiting. "I believe in second chances, Emily. But you need to trust me too." Michael's voice, anchored in sincerity, brought solace, and she felt the warmth bloom in her chest. Tell all of us who you are." The storm roared within her, but clarity shone brighter. Emily took a deep breath, eyes scanning the crowd, inching closer to the center of this calamity. "The truth is I'm not that person who was reckless. I'm not the same girl who couldn't escape chaos. But Jason, you're right, those I hurt are not just shadows. They are real, and their scars are real." She hesitated, then took one more step into the light, her voice firm. I'm ready to face it all, not just for you, Michael, but for us together. Whatever it takes. A ripple of doubt mixed with hope penetrated the audience, but most importantly, she saw a recognition in Michael's eyes, a breaking of mistrust into light, and it fueled her fire. Sally scoffed, eyes narrowed. This is a joke, right? You think saying you've changed is enough? But Emily, feeling empowered, pressed on. Changing isn't just words, it's action. I'm not looking for forgiveness, not for a way out. I want to own my truth, no matter how ugly it can be. Sure, Jason smirked, leaning against the bar, arms crossed. There was a flicker of article triumph in his gaze, a heavy awareness that losing control was never in his plans. But can you really verify your journey? The crowd shifted slightly, some exchanging doubtful glances, while others leaned forward, caught in this electric moment of justice unfolding. The moment hung in the balance, suspended between truth and the lies that crumbled beneath her feet. Whatever it takes. Emily held steady, her voice unwavering. I want to confront every mistake, every bad choice, because I want my love for Michael to stand strong. I need everyone to know that I will fight for my future. Michael stepped closer, their fingertips brushing, warmth igniting his trust behind the shadows. You're stronger than you know. And whatever happened, we'll face it together. As new silhouettes emerged from the crowd, each figure representing her tangled past, Emily stood firm. So, Jason, let us finish this. Reveal only the truth. And if it breaks me down, at least I'll take responsibility. But I still choose love over fear. The crowd murmured, their apprehension palpable. Here they were, looking at the remnants of a past cloaked in darkness, waiting for the final reveal. Would it finally set her free to move forward, or would it pull Michael back into a sea of doubts? The question hung in the air. Let it be known, she spoke louder now, conviction radiating like a beacon. The truth is harsh, but it's finally mine to tell. I won't run anymore. The crowd's breaths intertwined as they prepared for the fallout what Jason would unleash from within the depths of her former self. She would weather the storm, uphold the truth, and fight for her love, even if it meant facing everything that lingering shadows threatened to expose. Together, they would stand strong against the tide. So, as the truth began to emerge, Emily closed her eyes, hoping that this time, they could finally find healing in the ruins of the past. But as darkness clawed like a tempest on the horizon, she braced herself one last time to reclaim everything that belonged to her past, present, and the possibility of their future intertwined. And in that instant, ready to face the stakes of her reality, she felt the tide shift against her. And then, amid the murmuring tensions, just behind the dark shadows of the gala, a voice rang out, but this time, it felt like the beginning of the end, a painful unraveling of truths long buried. Whatever lay ahead, she would brave it all. Because this was her moment. And it was finally time to unleash the truth. Before we go, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. This is the moment to show your support. So smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What did you think? And please, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion and be part of this incredible journey. Don't wait even one more second to share. Your support matters.